It's the International Soccer Preview. We are Soccer Files Canada. Welcome to Series 25, looking at the players of Euro 2024. This episode is looking at the players of Hungary. Here we go. Hello and welcome again to the International Soccer Preview by Soccer Files Canada. I'm Kevin and we continue Series 25 on the groups and players of the 2024 Euro Cup. This episode covers Hungary's players. It's actually part 2 of the Players Mediacast, where we look at their selections. In part 1, we made a list of the candidates and introduced them and their likelihood of making the squad. And you can find a link to that in the show notes. This episode will be divided into 3 sections. So in section 1, we overlook the list that we compiled in part 1 and see who made it and who didn't. In section 2, we summarize surprises in the selection and review any injuries. And in section 3, we revisit the predictions of starters in light of the 2 warm-up games they played. Let's begin then. And we begin, with the manager. Of course, the manager didn't change during this period, so we'll say that he was effectively selected. And on we go with goalkeepers. So let's look at the candidates we had. We'll go through them and tell you if they were selected. So Denis Debus was a definite candidate and he was selected. We didn't have any other definite or even likely candidates, so we moved down to our possible group, and we have Peter Gulaxi. He was selected. Patrick Demjen was not selected. Peter Zapanos was selected for the squad, so there are the 3 keepers. And Balázs Toth was not selected, but he was named to 5 backup players were named. I think that's the manager's way of saying you were close but didn't quite make it. So Balázs Toth, I guess he'll come in if somebody reports injured right at the end or something like that. All right, those are our goalkeepers. Let's move on to defenders and central defense. So we had 2 definite candidates in Adam Lang and Attila Salai, so no surprises, both were selected there. Among our likely candidates, and we had 4 of them, Willie Orban was selected. Attila Moxie, I'll come back to. Botond Balot was selected, and Gabor Salai was not selected. However, one of our possible candidates, Martin Darday, was selected. In fact, all 3 of our possible candidates were selected. Also, Endre Botka and Attila Fiola. All of those players selected. So that is 7 central defenders. Not surprising, though, because they do use a 3-man backline all the time. Let's go back to the 2 players that weren't selected. So slightly surprising because they were likely, whereas the 3 possible candidates did make it. So in the case of Attila Moxie, he was another one of the 5 selected as a backup player. However, Gabor Salai was not selected at all. I tried to look into if there was a reason for that, but I couldn't find anything. So just the number of candidates here, or perhaps we ranked him higher than we should have. Anyway, that is central defenders. On to left backs, we had a definite candidate in Milos Kerkez, and he was selected. And a likely candidate in Zsolt. I've been saying Nagy. I've actually been told it's pronounced Noish, but that is so out of tune with the spelling that I wonder if the person was having me on. So I'm going to stick with Nagy until I hear the name being said in the cup. I should have heard that in 2020. Maybe that's where I got the noise from. Anyway, so two left backs, that is to be expected. We expect two right backs too. And we got them with likely candidate Loic Nego. We didn't have a definite candidate there. And also with our possible candidate, Bendigus Bola. Both of those selected for the squad. On to the midfield and defensive midfielders. We had two definite candidates, Adam Neusch or Adam Nagy. I have to do a development, educational development on maybe some other Hungarian names along with that one. Anyway, Adam Nagy selected. Callum Styles also selected. He was our definite candidate as well. And on to central midfielders. Actually, we didn't have any definite or likely candidates here. We had two possible candidates. Zolt Kalmar was not selected, but Mihaly Kata was. Okay, left midfielders. They don't actually use this position, but we had some players coded that way. And left midfielder, our likely left midfielder, Andras Schaffer, was selected. And so was our possible candidate, Laszlo Kleinheiser. Both of those selected for the squad. Right midfield, we only had a couple of players who were off the squad, so no one selected there. So we go to the left attacker role, and we had a definite candidate in Captain Dominic Szoboszlai, and he was selected, of course. And we also had a possible candidate in Zalan Banksa, and he was selected just for that five-man backup squad there. Okay, on to right attackers. We had a definite candidate with Roland Salai, who made the squad, and so did the possible candidate Kevin Soboth, also selected. Those were our only two candidates there. And finally, we move on to attacking midfielders. We had Christopher Horvath, and he was selected. We had him as a likely candidate there. And we had Daniel Gazdag as a possible candidate. He too was selected. And then we did have one player seemingly off the squad. He last appeared for the team in March 2023 and didn't seem to have a club yet, actually. Anyway, I would go into more detail on him, but he was only selected for that five-man backup squad. It's Balint Vexe. I wasn't trying to create suspense there. I think I just forgot to say it. Anyway, Balint Vexe selected for the backup squad, as was a new candidate on the list, the only one, Christian Listes, playing for Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany. And well, we won't go into detail on him. We would introduce him if he actually made the squad, but just on the backup squad there, Christian Listes. So he's just 18 years old, so we might see him in the future. Okay, going on to forwards, we had a definite candidate in Martin Adam, and also a likely candidate in Barnabas Varga, both of those selected for the squad. Our possible candidate, Andras Nemeth, was not selected. And, Adam Salai we had as retired, and that's a bit of a loss for them. Okay, that is it for section one. Those are the candidates, or those are the selections. So in section two, we review any surprises and give an update on injuries. But frankly, this is a very short section because the only kind of surprise was a notable non-selection, Gabor Salai. Again, I tried to find if there was a reason for that, but didn't find any. But we did have him as a likely candidate, even though he actually has no caps for the team. So again, possible that we rated him too highly. And we had only one new player, and he only got as far as the backup squad there, Christian Listes. So that's a bit of a summary of the surprises. So all in all, really no surprises. And our injury section is quite short too, because we have no injuries, no players tagged with injuries. So the only thing closest to an injury, I would say, is Schaffer coming back. He has recovered from his injury. He had actually before. It's just that he hadn't played for the national team over the period that begins with 2023. So we were not sure if his non-selection was due to injury or other reasons. Okay, section 3 is our predicted starter section. So Hungary played 2 warm-up games. One of them was against Ireland. I think that was in Ireland. I'll just check here. Yes, it was in Dublin. And the other one was at home to Israel. Their 2 warm-up games. And well, let's talk about the manager, or in the manager section, we'll talk about what they seem to be trying to achieve in their warm-up games. So for Hungary, it definitely seems that the starting lineup was being given time to play together. We see most of the starters on the field that we had predicted. Perhaps a couple of decisions are to give non-starters some field time, but that could also mean they are challenging for the position. And that's true it couldn't be more true when it comes to goalkeepers. So we had predicted Dennis de Boos as a starting keeper. He had increasingly challenged for the starting position and took over when Peter Galaxi's injury at the end of 2022 left him out for a whole year. So frankly, it didn't really dawn on us that Galaxy would come back and take his position, but that seems to be what he did, because he started both of the warm-ups. So again, it could be giving him some field time, or it could amount to him coming back and taking his position. So we're going to change our starting decision. Instead of strong confidence in De Boos, we now think it'll either be De Boos or Gulaxi. Maybe even favoring Gulaxi there, but we'll have to see. Okay, so for defenders, in central defense, they always use a 3-man defense, and but we were only confident enough to nominate Adam Lang and Attila Salai in that defense. Willie Orban was pretty steady there, but he had missed a few games, especially when he was injured in late 2023. So that created a little doubt in us. Well, in the cup, it was the 3-man backline as we expected. The lineup was the same, by the way, for Hungary as they regularly use, the 3-4-2-1. And as expected, we had Orban in the center, Salai on the left, and Lang on the right. We just weren't dead sure about Orban. Well, Orban started both games, so we're going to actually institute him as a starter here. We now think he'll be a starter. Adam Lang played both games alongside him on the left, so we stick with Adam Lang. But Attila Salai was replaced in the first of those games by Darday, a possible candidate, even though we have several candidates ahead of him. So we're going to change Attila Salai to a blue color now, say kind of a possible, maybe even probable, and just because we've lost a bit of confidence in him being a starter. We're not going to nominate Martin Darday, although it probably does move him up on the list into the likely category. well, that was for selection. Anyway, it probably moves him ahead of other players. Um, all right, let's move on to left. I'm trying to express a thought, but it's all tangled in my head. It's it's something about him moving closer to the starting lineup. Let's put it that way. Okay, on to left backs. We were very confident that Milos Kerkez would be the player, even though he had missed a couple of games toward the end due to suspension and I think benching. So we thought, but we didn't think that would be. Would threaten his starting position, and it seems not because he started both games. So it reinforces our confidence in Kirkes as a starter. Moving over to the right back position, we had, well, we didn't highlight anyone because we were going through kind of nominating starters, looking for definite starters. But I prefer this system of kind of putting in blue if a player is probable, or in this case, when two players are sharing a position. That's what Loic Nego and Bendigus Bola had been doing over the period from the beginning of 2023. And so we should have highlighted them in blue. Again, we weren't really doing that. But very much to form, those two shared a start in each of the two warm-up games. So it looks like we were dead on with predicting a rotation there. So now we'll put them both in blue. One or the other will start, but we think actually in the cup, both of them will get starts just as they did in the warm-ups. Okay, on to the midfield. And okay, it's always two central midfielders. Again, that was the formation they used. The 3-4-2-1, so two central midfielders. And we said usually that's Nagy and Styles. And we were bold enough to nominate both of them. But we did say that perhaps Andreas Schaffer will play a bigger role now that he's come back from a year-long injury. And that seems to be the case. Adam Nagy or Neusch. So he started both of the games, so we're confident that he remains a starter. But Andras Schaefer replaced Callum Styles in one of the games, so we think it's a bit of a toss-up between them. So Callum Styles here changed from green to blue, or from kind of definite to likely or probable, or sharing the role. And we'll get to Andras Schaefer too, because we have him listed as a left midfielder just down below. So that's it. None of our central midfielders we consider to be starters. So we actually do go straight to Andras Schaefer, and we'll change him from nothing to blue as a or as stronger than possible, a good chance of starting. Okay, up onto the attacking midfielder end, and the left attacker was never in doubt. It was Dominic Szoboszlai. It was always him, and that was confirmed in the games because he started both of them. Over to the right side, there was a little more doubt here. We said almost always Salai, but the attacking midfielder Gazdag takes over in his absence, and we thought that given that he did start two of the last three, Gazdag, perhaps it amounted to a challenge. We didn't really think so. And the warm-up games strengthen our opinion in that, because Roland Salai started both of those games. So our conviction is strengthened, and we'll try to make, we can't make the green greener, but we would if we could. Okay, to the forward line. And hang on, attacking midfielders. No, we don't have any attacking midfielders as potential starters. So same as in on the right wing here, where we thought it would be a kind of a rotation between Adam and Varga, but neither of them had started enough to make us think that they were the starters. So repeating what we said in part one, it was Adam at the beginning and at the end of the period from 2023 to March 2024, but Varga in the middle of that period. So we should have put them in blue again. We were looking for definite starters, so we left it blank. And we're going to stick with the blue, even though Varga, to our surprise, started both games. So he was just our likely candidate, whereas Martin Adam was a definite candidate. But we don't think strongly enough that Barnabas Varga has taken over the starting position. We still think it's going to be a rotation, but definitely strengthened his case to be the starter, Barnabas Varga. Okay, that brings us to the end. I have a little section for closing thoughts, but I don't really have much to say. I think in part one we said that Hungary is looking stronger and stronger, and some of these players coming in have better club affiliations than their predecessors, so those seem to be getting stronger. So I'm looking forward to seeing Hungary in this cup, and especially some of those younger players. Okay, those were some closing thoughts, and now we actually finish. So I hope you enjoyed this, and that it increases your enjoyment of watching Hungary in the cup. We would like to thank Mike Tripak, Make Sound Music, and Pixabay for the wonderful background music called Dance 90s accompanying this mediacast.